Oh, snap. It's time to yap. And I'm your host, Big C, and welcome to another episode of Just Yapping. Today is episode 30. Episode 30. I cannot believe it. I want to thank everybody who's been following me from Jump. And to kind of like, it's going to sound silly because it's only like my 30th episode and I only have a few fans on YouTube. I have almost 3,000 likes, which I'm super like appreciative of and stuff like that. So it's going to sound corny, whatever, but I made up these little refrigerator magnets and stuff like that. So if you get the opportunity and you would like one, just DM me your address and stuff, and I'll send one to you for free just for being a fan. I appreciate it. I'm not a stalker. Once I have your address, I'll delete them and I'll show you and all that stuff. All right. So, but I really appreciate all my little fans out there that keep it going and ask me questions and do all that other stuff. That's what I'm here for, to give everybody a little advice from experience, and we keep going from there. I hope everybody is having a good week. So this episode is basically a kind of like, it's not going to be sad. It's just reliving like my childhood growing up, and maybe you guys can add in some stuff. Send me a message or something, and I'll definitely answer you. So this week has been pretty sad. Like yesterday, I heard the sad news about Theo Huxtable. That was his nickname, and it was Malcolm Jamal Warner, who passed away in a tragic accident in I think it was Costa Rica swimming. He got caught in a riptide and passed away, drowned. That's really sad. So everybody who grew up to the Cosby Show and stuff like that, I know most of you are not fond of the dad Huxtable with all the horrible things that he did in his life, in his real life, but I'm not, I can't judge the man. I don't know him. So, but it's really sad that Theo Huxtable passed away. So may he rest in peace. And then today, another sad announcement. And I only know this because there's one person that I have to thank, and I will in a second, but I learned of the passing of Ozzy Ozborne. And that's pretty sad because, at a young age, at like probably 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old, I was introduced, not personally, but just like to his music and a lot of rock and roll. That's why I listen. A lot of people like, but you're Puerto Rican. How do you know those songs? It's because I grew up to the stuff, in the early 80s into the 90s. I grew up to all that stuff. And it doesn't matter what your nationality is or where you came from. You listen to that stuff because it was on the radio, right? So, there was a kid, his name was Tony Piccarello. If anybody knows Tony Piccarello from the other side of the bridge and he's still around, you tell him I said what's up. It's been a really long time, but if it wasn't for him, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't know half the songs or half the artists or half the groups. It's all because of him, right? So familiar with Ozzy Osbourne in the early days of Black Sabbath, right? And my favorite song, and still is today, is War Pigs. And it just continues to, like, I know the lyrics, I know everything, right? And then as he got older, he moved and he did his own stuff, Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley, right? And things like that. So, his music lives on forever. And I used to watch his show, the Ozzy Osbourne show, stuff like that. So shout out to the Osbourne family, and may he rest in peace. All right, so going back to my childhood growing up, and you guys are probably looking at me like, well, I'm Puerto Rican, knows heavy metal music and all that. So it's funny. Tony used to live down the hill from me when I lived on the other side of the bridge in Rockland. And Tony was really, the funny part is that he was good friends with my brother, my second oldest brother, but he, we had a good rapport. We had a good relationship. I was a little younger than he was, but he was real cool. He was mad cool. Long, people back in the day called him a burnout, but he was, he smoked cigarette. Maybe if he smoked weed, that was on him, but whatever. Tony was mad chill. Great baseball player, by the way. Long hippie hair, cool, tall, big dude, right? And we had a little clique, right? So he, if you wanted to be in his little gang, or well, not a gang, but like his little group and stuff, you had to smoke cigarettes, right? and I was like 9, by the way. I was like 9 years old. So downstairs in his basement of his mom's house, his mom like would buy him posters and stuff, but it was posters of like that cloth, like that velvety cloth and stuff. And he had the blue light, the blue lamp. And when he, turned it on, everything illuminated and came out to life and stuff. And we would be cool downstairs, smoking cigarettes and stuff. And it was like 5 or 6 of us, but it was great. That was back then. It was so much fun growing up. But we continued on to be friends and all that stuff. And I became, like 9, 10 years old, and 11 and 12 and stuff like that. So every Sunday and stuff, when his grandmother used to come home from church, he'd be like, "Oh, grandma, let me get some money. I'm gonna go to the mall." And since I lived down the road, he'd call me and be like, "Yeah, you want to go to the mall? We go to the mall." It's because the new albums like Ozzy Osbourne and Iron Maiden and who else? There's so many out there. Oh, I said Iron Maiden, right? Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath and AC/DC and all those groups, right? I knew who they were because of him. He was the one that got me into all that stuff. And most of you, especially if you're young, won't know this stuff. So we had, like, now it's so easy because you can go on the computer, or you can go on your phone, whatever. You can download any song, any genre, any age, anything, anytime onto your phone, right? But back in the day, you used to actually have to get your ass up, go to the store, look through all the files of music in alphabetical order that they had, either, in a vinyl cover, not a vinyl cover, but inside of a record album cover with the vinyl disc that's called, a record, and you would put it on this thing, and then you drop the needle, and original music, beautifully recorded, masters, awesome, right? Or the cassette tape, right? Which most of you don't even know about. So anyway, we would go, he'd be like, "Oh, we jump on the bus," and we would go to the mall, right? And we'd go to the mall, and we'd have stores like Sam Goody, right? For most of you that do remember Sam Goody, or Tower Records, right? And you'd go and you'd look for the album. Hey, the new Ozzy Osbourne or the new AC/DC album come out and all that. And I'm new to it. I'm like, who are these people? And he'd go. And the crazy part, if you took an album, right, even to look at it, and those of you out there who are maybe my age or a little older, they know this stuff, and regardless of the genre of music, when you went and picked up this record off the shelf, it was covered in like plastic, like little plastic. Once that plastic was torn, you owned it, period. Because there were Tower Record security album guys around, and as soon, don't touch it, and it was usually a sticker, right, with the price on it. Once that sticker was, you own it. So you could be a long hippie white kid, and you just picked up an album that you were just looking at, you ripped it, and it's yours, regardless of the genre. All right. So as I got older, then, when I played sports, especially football, in the locker room, I'd listen to Metallica and Slayer and you name it. I listened to it. That's why now, like, I drive my son's like, dang, even my wife is like, "How do you know these songs? Like, what is it?" And I just know because, it's in my blood and it's in my memory, and I'll never let it go. So when Ozzy Osbourne passed away today, it just brought me back to the times, of growing up and never letting that, piece of my life go, because it was so important that I learned all that stuff as I got older and stuff, that I enjoy music more and more. And, it's sad because a person like Ozzy Osbourne is not going to be around anymore to sing at a live concert. So now you have to pick up, your Apple phone or whatever and just download it so you can hear what the person is like. And like I asked my son today, he was like, "Dad, I don't even know who that is." And it's true, because he doesn't. Only the people who grew up around that era and all that other stuff know what I'm talking about. So today at work, we were kind of like just talking, we were going down memory lane, and it was, I was just thinking about me growing up around, my friends, and I'm pretty sure folks out there could relate. Right. the different types of clothing that we had growing up, like, it was crazy. So where I lived in an apartment building, right, there was a store called Leo's Army and Navy, right? And Leo had everything: jeans, sneakers. It was like almost like us. So for some of you, like if you went to New York City to travel, especially in the Bronx on Fordham, right? There was a store called Dr. J's, right? And Dr. J's had everything: sneakers, pants, like name brand stuff, right? And everybody went there. But Mr. like Leo, he had that stuff like brought in little by little and stuff. Like if you really wanted it, you had to go to the city. But if you wanted it, like I could wait a week, save a little extra money on layaway, and you'd have to wait like an extra week before Leo got it, right? And I think that was his name. I don't even remember. I just said Leo's Army Navy, and whoever worked there, we knew. But he had, let me tell you something, right? If you recall, the company Lee, like the jean company Lee, had two-tone jeans that everybody in school and all that wore, and even the white kids, seriously. And if not, they would wear like the black Lees and all that with the boots, the Saint Martin boots or whatever. The Doc Martin, Saint Martin. They're gonna go vacation right now. The Doc Martin boots, all that other stuff, and from there, right? So the Lee had burgundy pants with the back had like gray or whatever, and then they had blue with the gray, or some of them had pinstripes and like fresh stuff. And yep, go see Leo's Army Navy. He has all that stuff, right? So there was a time where Adidas had shell top, right? The shell top Adidas, that the kids now that wear them don't have a clue. They do, kind of, sort of, if you go back into history, especially with hip hop. They had the shell top Adidas, right? And they also had, Adidas came out with suede Adidas, which if you had suede, you were up on the game. You fly, if you like the next best thing to like Fila or oh God, who are the other sneakers? Whatever brand was out there that people had that was fresh, like that was it, right? So he did have kind of Adidas and all that other stuff, but it was like fake stuff. So they had a name, I'll never forget it. They had a name called Concept, and that was the brand. It was like a generic brand for shoes, basically, right? And because my mom couldn't afford a brand new pair of shell top Adidas, or unless I worked for it. But by the time I saved up, there'd be another brand of sneaker that come out, and that would be obsolete, like all the other stuff we do, right? Or use. So the sneaker, my mom was like, listen, I can't afford, because I know you really want the Adidas suede. I can't afford it, whatever. But across the street, he has these sneakers that look just like the ones you showed me, but a little different. I was like, okay. So what happened is that Adidas has a 3-stripe, right? Concept have 4. So I was like, okay, I'll get away with it. So what I did is that it was blue suede with the white trim, on the 4 lines instead of 3, and whatever. And I'm like, you know what? And in the back it said Concept. So I was like, you know what? I'll try and find a magic marker or stuff from school and stuff. The Puerto Rican ghetto, right? So I went and got the blue marker, and I colored it in and all this stuff, and I erased like one of the line, made it blue so it blended in a little bit with the sneaker, and I made sure that my pants in the back kind of like, like covered it a little bit, so you really wouldn't tell. You would only see the 3 stripes, be like, yo, he got those fresh Adidas suede, son, right? So I did until like some of the kids in school. So the thing is that there used to be a studio, right? Like we used to go there on weekends, and by this time I was like 12, 13, and the kids, we would go it was like a teen night, right, at a club, and you walked in there and it would be like music playing, bah, 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 and you go in there and like everybody was like in break suits. Like I had the windbreaker suit on and my Adidas, that I had on my feet and all of my suede, and people be like, "Oh, snap, yo, he's fresh. He has Adidas suede. Oh my God, they're new." Until that pan came up and like, what? He got another line on there. He has another stripe on there, and then they looked at me, yo, those aren't Adidas. What is that? What? Oh man, he's whack. Oh man, it was horrible, but still. And then they made fun of me in school. They're like, oh, I don't remember the names they called me, whatever, but. Hysterical. Those are the days. That was the fun that we had when I was growing up. Because again, breakdancing and hip hop was just like, just really, really starting, and people were getting, really addicted to it, and especially wanted to dress like Run DMC and Big Daddy Kane and all the big artists that had the fresh gear, right? And again, like a lot of you young people don't know that hip hop started the trend, the marketing trend, as far as like Polo and Tommy Hilfiger and you name it. It was because of hip hop, and then the Black American or the African American community, decided, hey, you know what, we're gonna why are we making the white guy rich off our Black success? So why don't we make up our own stuff? So like Carl Kanai and oh my God, well, there's a lot. Carl Kanai and then Rockaware with Jay-Z and all that. So they kind of like did that, and it was great. But still, they brought into hip hop and people wore it, right? And the crazy part is that like that was it. If you saw somebody with like a Run DMC jacket, oh, this guy's fresh, and of course, people that like myself couldn't afford it. Like my parents couldn't afford it. I should say my mom couldn't afford it because I didn't have my dad wasn't around. So it was things like that was great. And I remember, and I wish I can go back in time and like with the money that I have saved now, I'm like, I'm going to buy this. And I would have went nuts. But I did. I was thinking about buying another, like the real, like Adidas shell top and maybe a pair of suede and just throw on some fat laces on it and just chill. I mean, I can, it'll bring me back. I'll lose 30, 35 years off my life and I'll still rock it. Because I still love that era. I grew up to it, and most of you out there that are listening understand. So listen, it was a great time. I'll never forget it. Just like you folks out there, not what the genre of music that you listen to, like still today, will bring you. Oh, listen, I say it all the time. Music will either bring you back to where you were when you were 15, 16 years old. I'm talking about those that are my age that understand freestyle music, old school hip hop. My cousin who's no longer here, God rest his soul, he was the one that introduced me to reggae music. And people, there's a difference between reggae music and dance hall music. Reggae music, they would listen to reggae music and it would be about life, about the struggles and all that. It's a story, right? Dance hall was about bumping and grinding when you went to the club, girl sex, time to upset, right? Stuff like that, right? And that's what it was about. And it was about bumping and grinding, right? And he was the one that he got me into reggae. My older brother, who's no longer here, may he rest in peace as well. He got me into oldies but goodies, like the real like 1950s stuff. My mom, as I got older, I listened to salsa and merengue, mostly salsa, like her generation. And it's just soft rock. Tony and them, I listened to heavy metal and all that as I got older. And I just never lost that love for the music. That love is still there. Like I listen to it and there's like a switch in my bold brain that it just turns on, and it just, whether it's a sad moment, I'll remember it. Good moment, like, oh man, I remember this song, the first song that I heard. It was at so and so's pizza place, that pizza parlor. Oh my God, it was great. Or, LL Cool J, I Need Love, right? I heard that song at Great Adventure. You used to have the tokens. You just put the tokens into the thing, and it was the first video, like music thingy that I had instead of a jukebox. It was a a screen. You play it, and the song, it coincided with the video, and that was it. That was the first time I ever heard saw "I Need Love," and it was great. That stuff is great. So I'll never forget things like that. You can always remember freestyle music. For those that love freestyle, still listen to freestyle. My wife and I we try to go to concerts. She's been to a few more than I have, but still, we still try to, get together and go to a freestyle concert. So make sure that you don't let music, right? Make sure you don't let it die, because that's forever. Music is the actual gateway to the soul, right? It heals people. Literally, it can heal somebody. Unfortunately, sometimes you hear a song, it can make you sad, it can make you remember, or it could try to, there's different things. It's relaxing. There's so many different things when it comes to music. You put yourself within that song and you try to say, whether you live your life like that, or not all music. Like, there's music that I don't want anybody to hear that be like, I want to live my life like that. No, that, as you get older, that's your prerogative. But I'm saying, like, music that you can put yourself there and be like, oh my God, like, you want to get romantic, whatever. You'll never go wrong with Sade. Baby, you'll never go wrong with Sade. And everybody will probably be like, oh my God, Sade. She's great. If you guys don't understand what I'm listening to, go and type in Sade and listen to her music. It's fantastic. Or Jodeci, or like R&B, hip hop and R&B, the old school R&B, even before R. Kelly got R. Kelly'd. But it's just growing up for me and my time in my era, because when I sit down and I talk to my son about it, he's like, the first thing out of his mouth, he's like, I know, Dad, when you were growing up, because it's true. Like, we will never get those times back. Those times are gone. Like, when I get off this podcast, that's the past, right? You can just hear me and it replay it and all that other stuff. But what I'm relaying to you is that it's gone. I already said it, right? So but it's funny because today, driving home from his football practice, I'm like, how the hell do you know this song? And he's like, come on, Pop, I know. And it's awesome, because then that means that he likes the music that I listened to when I was growing up. But I kind of don't like his stuff that he's listening to, because it all sounds the same. Mumble, 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 mumble. And that's it. Booty clapping and whatever. We had two live crew when I was growing up, and that was a different booty clap. But anyway, but still, music is the gateway to the soul. That's what that's what Bob Marley wanted to do. Bob Marley wanted to heal the world through his music, period. And Bob Marley's music is forever and ever instilled in my brain, because that's all I loved to hear when I was growing up, and I still love to hear it. And it's a relaxing and it's a tranquil moment that I will sit down and just punch in Bob Marley and do the thing. A lot of you people don't know that there was Napster. Right? It was when the music, that's how, like, the radio, like Tower Records, that you had to go there and get the music you wanted to listen to, or Sam Goody and stuff like that. Then there was Napster. When the computer came out, people were downloading music for free. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, Metallica sued Napster because it was like stealing their music for profit, which is true. You couldn't do that. And then I think after a while, what's the other? LimeWire. LimeWire was another one that people would, you download their music and all that other stuff. And I think some of it was free, or maybe like you had to subscribe to LimeWire to whatever. I don't know. But now, forget it. Now you have all the freaking Apple Music, and you have, forget it. You have all these things, but then you got to pay for it. So it is what it is. So always keep those memories, especially when it comes to music. Again, this is the 30th episode, and I'm excited that I got this far, and I really have a good group of people that listen to me and enjoy what I have to say, because it's through experience. And again, so far, and I hope not, I don't want to sound like it's about me. I'm narcissistic, because I'm not that type of person. I'm a storyteller. I'm telling you my stuff through experience. That's what I want you to understand. What I went through, give you a little bit of advice and put you like into a moment like today, and put you into a moment how I grew up for me and how I remember those things. And hopefully you can actually do the same with your family and stuff like that. Oh, I remember this time and I remember that time and swimming at this person's house, because that's what it's all about. And when you do all those things, there's music around you and you're like, oh yeah, right? Because that's the way it is, whether you're on a boat, whether you're at a barbecue, whether you're at a friend's house, whether you're at a wedding, though, you're going to replay that stuff, right? So that's how it is for me. And again, music. Put your earbuds in, or just bump it in your car, or do whatever, because music is everything. And again, Tony Picarello, thank you, because without you, I wouldn't know Ozzy Osbourne. I wouldn't care about Ozzy Osbourne or the music that genre of music. I wouldn't have cared about it if it wasn't for you. So I really appreciate you. I hope you are still around, and if you are, I miss you, bud. I really do. I talk about you a lot because you put me on to that rock and roll, that hard rock and all that stuff growing up, and I really appreciate you, because I'm talking about it now, right? So if you get the opportunity, because this is the thing, this little corny just yapping fridge sticker that I had up, I'm just going to do a few more. If you are interested and you want to put one, I'll give it to you for free. Just send me your address, your home address, not your email address, because how the hell am I going to put it in the computer and send it to you, right? And how is it going to stick to the fridge, silly rabbit? So your home address, if you send it to me, I'll do it, send it out. It's going to take me, I'm not Amazon or anything like that. It's not going to be your house like lickety split, right? Just give me some time. I'll do it and I'll send it out. All right. If you do get the opportunity, please go on TikTok or YouTube and just type in at Just Yappin, JUSYAPPIN 73, and all my videos are there, my past videos and all that other stuff. But please like, comment, and subscribe. All right. And I hope you guys stay well. All right. Until the next time, I'm Big C. Peace.